What's up, campers? This video is going to be all about creating your very own stamp. And I'm really excited to show it to you guys because this is one of my favorite projects literally ever. And once I show you how easy it is, you're going to want to stamp everything. So, this morning, or not even this morning, earlier today, you should have started your batik, right? That was the first project that we did together. You should have a piece of fabric that's covered in a glue design set aside somewhere drying. If you haven't done that yet, that should be your first step. Please go back and watch the batik part 1 video before you watch this video. All right? If you have already done the first step of your batik, you're ready to make your stamp. And the materials that you need for your stamp are, you need your handy dandy tote, which your summer camp kit actually came in. You're going to lay it flat down in front of you. You need the piece of wood that came in your kit. Some of you guys had a square piece or a rectangular piece. Some of you have a round piece that looks like this. It's kind of like a wheel, and it might have something kind of written on it. Ignore that. We just used recycled stuff from our makerspace for this project, so everyone kind of got a piece of wood that looks a little bit different. If you do have a round piece like this, we're just going to be using the flat side, not the side with the bumps on it. So figure out which side is flat and which side is bumpy if you have a round piece of wood. You're also going to need your square of foam. It has white on the back. Some of you might have a white piece or a yellow piece, but the white on the back is like a sticker. We're going to peel this off later. Do not peel it off yet. You're going to need your foam brush, and you're going to need a pair of scissors. We didn't include scissors in the kit, but there is a pair in your sewing kit if you need a little pair of scissors, but a regular pair of scissors should be fine. Okay, so when we're talking about stamps, I'm talking about a stamp, like you might get on your hand at the doctor's office or at school, but this time we're going to be stamping fabric. So the other thing that you're going to need is your black paint. Each of you should have gotten a little container of black paint. I added just a tiny bit of water to mine. Since we're only using one color, you only need this color and your brush. Don't worry too much about having a cup of water nearby, but if you want to, you can. So when we're ready to start painting, we're actually going to mix this up, but I'm not ready to start painting yet, or stamping, excuse me. So I have a stamp around here that I can show you. Just let me grab it. All right, so I made a little example, and then I'll make one with you guys. So this is the stamp that I made as an example. It's kind of like a half moon shape, or like a semicircle. You can see I painted it, and because I was already stamping with it, but so this is also on one of those weird circle wood pieces, and this is just our foam, and I stamped it into a pattern that looks like this on a regular piece of fabric. So if you're in the afternoon camp, how do I turn it off? Sorry. If you're in the afternoon camp, you're going to be stamping on a piece of fabric like this, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, we're all going to be stamping on our bags. So the first thing you're going to do is decide what shape you want your stamp to be, and we're going to focus on really, really simple shapes. Shapes like circles, squares, triangles, diamonds, because the great thing about simple stamps is that you can create a really intense, awesome pattern on your surface with just a super simple stamp. So, for example, I'm going to turn my stamp that I'm going to make with you guys today I'm going to make a triangle. And I'll show you why I want to make a triangle specifically. So, the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut right into this. I'm going to keep it pretty small. I'm just going to cut a triangle right out. I don't know if I have any geometry pals in here, but I am going to try my hardest to make an equilateral triangle. it's not going to be perfect. That means that all of the sides are the same length. So you get a triangle that kind of looks like this. All right? And my foam is yellow, so the foam part is yellow and the back is the sticker, and that's white. So I'm going to go ahead and peel the white sticker part off so that I have one side of the foam that's sticky and one side that isn't, and I'm going to stick my little triangle right over the hole on my round piece of wood. If you have a regular piece of wood, it just needs to get stuck right on to your wood. So now you have a stamp. It was that easy. It's pretty incredible. So now you have a stamp. I'm going to take my foam brush and my paint, which I added a little bit of water to, and I'm just going to mix it just like this. I'm going to move it over actually so I don't get any drops of paint on my tote bag. And I'm just cleaning my brush off so that there's not a ton of paint on here. Foam brush does hold quite a bit of water, and if your paint is watery, it means that it holds paint in your brush. So you might dip it again, clean it off, just so that you know that there's quite a bit of paint in here, and black paint goes a long way. So what I'm gonna do is just stamp over and over this triangle all over my tote bag. But because I chose such a simple shape for my stamp, I can make it into really interesting patterns. So to start stamping, I'm just gonna paint some black onto my stamp here. Grab it in my hand. I'm right-handed, so I like to do things with my right hand. And I'm just gonna pick a spot to start. Maybe I'll start up here at the top, line my stamp up, and press it down nice and firmly and pull it up. Boop. And just like that, I have a triangle that I just printed on my bag. So once I have one, I'm gonna paint it again. You're gonna have to paint your stamp every time. And as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that I might want my next triangle to have a point going this way. So I'm gonna try and line it up, press it down, lift it up, and now I have two. Oops. Don't drop your stamp. Now, this is actually a perfect time for me to talk about acrylic paint, which is the kind of paint that we're going to be using for all of our projects in this camp. Acrylic paint, comes in every single color. You might have heard of it before. There are different types of paint. There's tempera paint, there's acrylic paint, oil paint. Like I said, the paint that we're using in this camp is acrylic paint, and that means that it is basically like liquid plastic. The pigment is a liquid plastic, and it will not come out of your clothes. So when you're doing all of these projects, be super, super careful. That's why we're using it, because we're wanting to dye. We want to paint our tote bag with our stamps, and we don't want it to come out even if we put our tote bag through the wash. We don't want our paint to come out. And that's the same reason that you should be really careful about not getting it on your clothes, because it will not come out even in the wash. So don't be like me and just like drop your stamp all over the place. So I stamped it twice. I'm gonna paint it again, just like that. And I'm just gonna keep going with this pattern where I have one triangle that points down and one that points up. My stamp seems to want to flip out of my hand all the time, but try and keep a good grip on it. And you just are going to keep doing this until you have filled up your whole tote bag with whatever pattern you want. So this is a pretty cool pattern. I could continue doing this, and I will finish off doing this all the way across the top. But I wanted to show you, if you do a triangle, there are other cool designs you can do. You can make something kind of like a flower, where maybe you make one triangle, paint it, make another triangle with the point facing in, paint it, another triangle like that, and see how I'm kind of putting my head down here to see kind of where I'm stamping. Maybe you have to dip your paintbrush again. you know? So it's not going to be perfect because these are kind of crazy stamps. Some of them might touch, but you can do something like that where you kind of make a different shape with triangles all together. Or maybe you want to do something like a star. So maybe you take your triangle or whatever shape you have. Maybe you have a circle, maybe you have a square. Maybe you have a weird wavy wavy lined polygon of some kind. I don't know. But I'm just being careful to kind of match up my shapes here and putting the corners of my triangle together with a flat side and kind of making a little star. So there are lots of things that you can do. I'm just going to continue stamping this on my own so that you guys don't need to watch me. But this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of today's camp. If you're in the afternoon camp, make sure that you tune in for our next video. It's super short, I promise, and you're going to be using your same stamp to stamp something else. All right, I'll see you guys in a second. If you're in the morning camp, keep stamping your bags. Fill it up. I'm so excited to see all of the designs that you put on the back of your bag. Remember that the front of our bag is going to stay blank. That's for tomorrow's project. But the back of our bag is going to just be filled with stamps. So make sure you come up with a really cool stamp idea, a simple shape that you can make into really interesting patterns on your bag. Happy stamping!